Hello crafty viewers! So for today's video we are going to be making this beautiful winter snowflake poinsettia card. So sit back and enjoy the video. Okay, let's get started on our card. So this is going to be a top fold card, and I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock that's cut to 11 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to take my trimmer and I am going to score this at 5.5 inches. Now you'll notice on the trimmer that this line right here aligns perfectly with 5.5 inches, even though there's not a ruler down at the bottom. My sweet puppy seems to know when I'm doing a video because she pulls out her little lamb chop and squeaks it. It's like she knows I hit record. Okay, so this card is going to be mounted on a piece of Pretty Peacock paper, and the Pretty Peacock paper is going to cover the card completely. So this also is cut to 4 1/4 by 5.5. We have a piece of this beautiful snowflake paper, and the colors in this paper set didn't include Pretty Peacock, but I really liked how that set this off and really provided a lot of contrast to it. So I'm going to take this beautiful piece of snowflake paper. Now I have to tell you, it was hard deciding which side I was going to use. But in the end, big snowflakes won out, and I'm sure I'm going to make something with that one. So, and this is going to give me a 1/8 inch reveal all around. I'm not going to mount it to the card base just yet because I do want to wrap some ribbon around it. Now I have 2 more pieces of cardstock here. This one's cut to 1 3/4 inch by 5.5, and this piece in Pool Party is cut to 1.5 by 5.5. Now I'm going to take this piece of Pool Party and I'm going to give it a light mist. And I'm going to run it through my machine using the Winter Snow embossing folder. And that just gives this piece a little bit more interest. Now I mist the paper so that when it goes through the embossing folder, it doesn't crack the paper. And I'm going to line that up and I will be right back. All right, look at that beautiful snowflake texture on that paper. That turned out really nice. I'm going to adhere this down onto the strip of Pretty Peacock. And this is cut so that the top and the bottom, that there is no reveal. It's just going to have the 1/8 of an inch reveal on each side. I'm going to adhere this down onto my panel. And I'm going to put that about 1/2 inch in. All right, now let's work on the next piece. So there was some beautiful flocked velvet velum paper, say that 5 times fast, that was part of the Poinsettia Petals suite. So in the Poinsettia Petals bundle, there was the poinsettia dies, and in there was a die that cuts out the flower out of the poinsettia paper. Now, you've probably seen me use this several times. I have it in 2 different videos that I will link up in the corner. And it was cutting the flowers out of the designer series paper. However, this paper, and that paper, you only had like maybe 4 flowers on the whole sheet. That was actually the same size. This paper, it happens to align perfectly to all of the flowers that are on this sheet, which means you could use this die to cut out all the poinsettias and not have any waste. So I am going to take this and run this through my die cutting machine so that we can have a standalone flower. I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. Look how perfectly that cut that out. That's just so awesome. So much easier than fussy cutting. Now I am going to mount this onto this panel here, and I think that that gives a nice amount of offset and contrast to it. And I am going to use some glue, and I'm going to put the glue behind the flocking, and that way you're not going to notice it. I'm not going to go all the way to the edges so that there is some dimension, but because I'm putting it onto this embossed paper, I want to make sure that it does adhere down fairly well. The next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to tie some ribbon around the bottom here before I put my sentiment strip on there. So this is approximately 21 inches of ribbon, and this is the Pool Party ribbon. It is a 3-inch wide sheer ribbon, and this was actually part of the Whale of a Time suite. Now, I didn't use it in making any of the cards in that suite, but I thought it went perfectly with this paper, especially since this paper is Pool Party. So I thought this was a perfect addition for this particular card. So let's see if I can not embarrass myself tying a bow. I am going to put my sentiment right here, so I do want the bow to be offset in the center of the space over here. All right, the next thing that we're going to do, set that aside, is I'm going to take some Pretty Peacock ink and I am going to take the Thank You Snow Much sentiment from the Snowflake Wishes stamp set. I'm going to stamp that on a piece of Whisper white paper. But before I do that, I'm going to actually stamp this off onto a piece of scrap paper. Make sure I get a good stamp. Perfect. Now I'm going to take this die, and this die came from the Tasteful Labels die set, and that was part of a bundle. It has several different dies, 3, 6, looks like there's about 10 dies in here, and I'm going to take this middle square one, and I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to mount it onto a piece of Pretty Peacock paper, and then I'm going to trim it to fit. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Like the other dies in the set, you can see that the die actually leaves a really pretty intentional embossing line all around on the inside. I really love how that just gives that a little bit more of an interest, and that comes with the new dies from Stampin' Up! Now I'm going to mount this onto this piece of pretty peacock paper, and this is 2 1/4 by 1 3/4 inches, and it's almost perfectly fit to the die cut piece. And that will leave about 1/8 of an inch all around. Except you will notice that it has these extra little cutouts. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take our scissors and trim that so it kind of looks like that was intentional. Okay, the very next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to mount this with some foam squares. And that's going to go right over here, centered in the middle of our strip. Now, you might be thinking, gosh, that poinsettia is pretty. It's just a little bland. Have no fear. I am going to bling that up just a little bit. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos making poinsettias, you know that I have been using the wonderful gems, and I have not made very good use of these beautiful pearls. So this is an embellishment pack, and it's called the Beaded Pearls. That is part of the Poinsettia Petals suite. And I'm just going to take some glue that down real good. Enough glue to make sure that it sticks, because you don't want that falling off in the mail. And that's just going to add a little bit of bling onto our flower and onto our card. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is I am going to add some of these adhesive back snowflakes. Also just adding a little bit more sparkle to the card. There are 2 different colors of adhesive back snowflakes, and I'm going to use the more translucent ones on this card. They have adhesive on them. However, you have to pull them off carefully from the plastic, otherwise the adhesive sticks to the plastic, because these are just so teeny tiny. So it looks like I'm going to need to just put some glue dots down, or glue drops down. I'm going to add a couple right here too. Why not? You can never have too much bling. Well, you can, but I try not to. And there we go. There is our beautiful Winter Snowflake Poinsettia card. I sure hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you could give it a big thumbs up down below, that would be fantastic. I will have more videos for products from the holiday catalog that I've been making cards with down in the corner here. If you could subscribe, that would really help me out. YouTube loves it when people subscribe and give thumbs up, and I would really appreciate that. I would also, if you want to see more videos, I will link a video up in the corner here with some other videos from this product suite. Thanks, and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.